5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm good evening once again uh, on this special broadcast where we will analyze the day two of the ongoing test between India and England at the Chepauk Stadium. The day changed from 1 to 2, but India's fate remained the same as the Indian bowlers and fielders had to toil hard all throughout the day. The visitors are completely dominating, and they are now they've tightened their grip over this test match, and the chances of losing this one, they've actually taken this consequence out of context as the captain of England, Joe Root, continued his sublime form, his awe-inspiring form, to convert his century into a double ton, making his 100th Test match a more memorable one. He struck brilliant 218, a knock full of class, elegance, and stroke play, and he was well supported by Ben Stokes, who struck 82 runs. They were down the order. Joss Butler, Oli Pope also annexed their contributions in the English scoreboard as England finished at 555 for 8, humongous total at the end of day two. Now, for more of the analysis, I have our expert, Mr. Shirish Nadkarni, with us. Good evening, sir, but I don't think there is anything good in this evening for Team India, as they were knackered today by England.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a question. What do you call an Indian with 100 against his name?
What do you call
an Indian with 100 against his name? Never mind. Answer is a bowler. A bowler. Out of the six bowlers used today, Rohit Sharma, of course, bowled only 2 overs, but 3 of the bowlers hit the 100 mark. Washington Sundar was just shy of it at 98, but 2 of the bowlers, that is Ashwin and Shahbaz Nadeem, were well beyond the 100 mark, and only Ishant Sharma was very economical, and Bumrah conceded some 80-odd runs. So it's not a very good statistic, but that's the joke that's going around. What do you call an Indian with 100 against his name? A bowler. Anyway,
I'm pretty much aware of your humor, and I have a question. I'll ask it later. Paji will also join us today, so I'll ask it later. But yes, you can continue, sir. Now.
Yeah, well, as you said earlier, England has made this match totally safe for them, and it's difficult to think that lightning will strike twice. You know, it has struck once in Chennai in 2016 when England made 477 in the first innings after batting first, and India replied with 759 for 7 declared, and then bowled England out for 207 to register an innings and 75 runs victory. Meaning England, after making 477 in the first innings, still lost the match by an innings. So that is the one time that lightning struck Chennai. That was in the 5th test in December 2016. But it's too much to expect this to happen a second time. England have already got 555 for 8. And thanks to the largesse of one of the Indian fielders, Rohit Sharma, Dom Bess is still batting. Otherwise, he should have been dismissed from one of the easiest catches that you will see in international cricket. It's amazing how Rohit dropped it, and even Joss Butler, sitting in the pavilion, couldn't resist raising his eyebrows and wondering how that had happened. But like I said, 555 for 8. One of the other statistics that struck me today was 19 no balls bowled by the Indians, including so many by the spinners. I mean, Ashwin and Shahbaz Nadeem kept bowling no balls. It's amazing to why should a spinner have to bowl a no ball in this class of cricket? It's quite unforgivable. 19 no balls added to the total, and it's quite a bit. It should not be like this. What else?
Also, one more stat that any team which scored more than 500 against India in India, the match has resulted in a draw. More than 500. So this is also a stat. And as you were talking about Rohit Sharma dropping a dolly. So this actually speaks how the couple of days went for India. It actually depicts the picture. And Ben Stokes also was in complete shock and was surprised by that drop.
Yeah, that's right. It was Ben Stokes, not Josh Butler. I'm sorry. And Ben Stokes, by the way, was dropped twice. And fortunately for India, it didn't cost too much more. But even otherwise, he got 82 runs. But what was amazing during the day was Joe Root's consistency. In his last three innings, he has got more than 600 runs. And he's gone ahead of three of the top England scorers. That is Jeff Boycott, Kevin Peterson, and Alex Stewart. And he's only a few runs behind Graham Gooch in third place. Of course, Alistair Cook is way ahead of everybody. So it'll take Joe Root quite some time to catch up with Alistair Cook. But by the next innings, I think he should be past Graham Gooch to become the second highest scorer for England in Test cricket. And that is an amazing statistic. He is one of the four big batsmen in world cricket today. Kane Williamson, Stephen Smith, Virat Kohli, and Joe Root. That is the club of four.
Fab Four.
Yeah, and the Fab Four. And Virat will have to bat out of his skin to be able to match Joe Root's performance in this particular test, particularly on a difficult pitch, which, I think the pitch has been very easy for the first 2 days, but is showing signs of cracking, and it's become pretty dusty. And if the England bowlers can exploit it, then it's not going to be easy for the Indian batsmen to come out and make a matching score.
Also, and Joe Root also became the highest scorer amongst the English captains to score in India. So he now has the highest score amongst the English captains in India, and second highest in the India-England test. Obviously, as you mentioned, first is Graham Gooch, triple Nelson, 333 at Lord's in 1990, and after that it is Joe Root, 218. But Shirisa, also now the way India actually let go their DRS, because once we saw Rishabh Pant and every member of the team appealing against Josh Butler, which was a clear edge, and umpire missed out on that. So had there been DRS, Josh Butler's innings would have been finished.
That is correct. In fact, we wasted two DRS calls, one after the other, much earlier in the game, and therefore you had no DRS calls left when Josh Butler was very clearly out. I mean, Ultra Edge did show a very clear edge going to Rishabh Pant, and everybody appealed vociferously, but the umpire Nitin Menon missed it, unfortunately. And Butler would have been out a little earlier than he was. It just shows that maybe Virat Kohli should be a little more circumspect while taking the DRS calls, because the earlier two calls for DRS were very, very bad, the first and second call. The third call was understandable, but the first two calls were bad, and they really cost India the chance of getting Butler's wicket earlier. We still have...
Welcome, Baji.
Hello, guys.
Yeah.
Hi,
Ha.
Monty. Did you feel like
So,
that you should have been there at Chennai bowling today?
Absolutely not. The wicket's so flat that this is probably a test match that you want to miss out on. I was feeling sorry for the left arm spinner, who was actually, he just felt he was so tired at the end. But it's been a great day for England.
Very, very flat pitch.
Shiri sir, you took away my question. I also had the same question that. But Paji, the way Joe Root batted 228 against Sri Lanka recently, and then 180 plus against Sri Lanka recently. So these two gigantic score against Sri Lanka. Now coming to India, the first test 218. He's carrying forward his form and capitalizing on it. But don't you think that England players got a good practice in Sri Lanka before playing this high octane series against India?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the England team had perfect, practice as like, let's say, two warm-up games effectively against Sri Lanka. They're a good side. They're not probably good as India. And, you're only like, 45 minutes an hour away. So, in Tamil Nadu. So, it's very similar conditions. In fact, the wicket was probably a lot flatter, in Mumbai. And it's kind of surprised us all. We kind of thought that there would have been a lot more turn on this wicket, but it wasn't. And it's been just brilliant batting from England. And India just don't seem to have any answers. And, like they normally say, it will take two teams to bat. Then you'll know how good is this score. So when India bat on this wicket, then we'll realize, how good is this score, But any team that gets over 500, I think England are in the ascendancy, even if India get to 300-400, that's still a lead of 150. India need to bat so well. They need to bat at least 5 sessions to get themselves back in the game.
Also, the wicket is now beginning to wear quite a bit. If you noticed when Dom Bess was batting, there was a lot of dust flying around. So on a third day track, once Bess and Leach are done with their batting and they invite Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill to have a go, I have a feeling that England do have the bowlers to exploit the possible deterioration in the wicket on the third day. What do you say?
Yeah, look, this is the way I think England need to look at themselves. They've got their 3 fast bowlers and they need 20 wickets to win this test match. England probably will declare overnight, and tomorrow morning they'll have that new ball. If I was Joe Root, that's what I would do. And they've got to think to themselves, we need to, we've got basically up to 400. We've got a total of 400 to enforce the follow on if the bowlers are fresh by that time. But it's, if you look at the numbers now, right, if they get to 400, England will probably bat again, and to get to 400, like, that 100 a session, that's still 4 sessions of batting. We'll be going into day 2 after lunch when, we will have, England batting again. So it'll probably be, another 2 sessions of batting or 1 session. So that's the thing. If England can only win this game if they bowl out India between 350-400. If India get above 400, I think this will end up being a draw.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think you've nailed it.
Before moving forward, yesterday I and Shirish sir were discussing about the possibility of Kuldeep Yadav being included in the 11. So Paji, do you also think that Kuldeep Yadav should have played instead of Shahbaz Nadeem?
Absolutely. We all kind of were so surprised to think that why isn't Kuldeep Yadav playing? And the simple reason is that this India team, as well, they are confident with the seamers, but I think Virat Kohli always likes his experienced campaigners, or we'll go for the safer option where the finger spins provide more control than the X factor. And I think Virat Kohli, he needs to kind of think to himself, actually, I missed a trick here. I should have played Kuldeep Yadav, should have gone with that extra, just that something different. These Indian batsmen, the English batsmen didn't have any preparation against the likes of, a Chinaman bowler, googly bowler. It would have been perfect for India to play him in this test match.
Yeah, a wrist spinner. Absolutely. Instead of 3-finger spinners, you should have had 2-finger spinners and 1 wrist spinner. With Kuldeep Yadav, there would have been a
Yeah,
very, very big difference in the quality of the bowling attack, the spin attack. Definitely.
yeah. Anurag also joins us from Patna. Hello, Anurag. You're in the show, and today the fate didn't change, as I mentioned at the start of the show, that Indians were knackered by the English batters. So, what do you have to say? What's your view?
I feel this test match has something more in it, and I feel the next 2 days could unfold something great. I think it can happen for India as well. Let's hope we get wickets of the remaining 2 wickets quickly, so that we can wrap up the England team. I feel still there is a lot to go in this test match. We still don't know how the pitch will play when India bat. I feel India will do well, and I'm hoping that India does well. So let's hope that we could repeat what happened once. I think in 2016 when Karun Nair hit that triple hundred, and then England got wrapped up in a. I think the lead was around 200, and England didn't cross that lead, so they lost by an innings. So something like that could happen. You never know. We have got some really attacking batsmen. So let's see if we get some good runs when we bat.
Anurag, I did
Yeah.
mention the 2016 December test where England got 477 and then India replied with 759 for 7 declared and then bundled England out for 207 and won by an innings and 75 runs. And that's where Karun Nair got 303. But does lightning strike twice? I am very, very,
But
very,
but
very
sir,
doubtful.
but sir, this is the true character of an Indian fan. Their loyalty and their continuous support for their team. So this is what I was expecting from an Indian fan. But I mentioned to you that I have a humorous question for you, because you always depict a situation humorously in your social media posts. So today I have my question is, sir, why the tail always wags at India? Opposition's tail always wags at India. Why is the reason that India cannot bowl the opposition tail out early? Today also we saw Jack Leach barring that dolly catch dropped by Rohit Sharma, Jack Leach and
Dombes.
Dombes.
Oh, good question. I have no idea. In fact, I should ask Monty Paji the question that I asked you earlier. What do you call an Indian with 100 against his name?
I don't know.
A bowler. We had Shahbaz, Nadeem and Ashwin both hitting more than 100 today. And Washington Sundar was within 2 runs of getting 100. So...
Yeah, but Paji, now coming back to the question, that as a bowler, what's your intent? What's your strategy to bowl out the tail when you are in front of any tail ender? Because this has been a problem for a while for this Indian team now, especially in the Test match cricket.
It's always a variation of pace. You know, the contrast has to be really slow, really quick to induce the mistakes. And I think, you know, I think Ashwin's just been let down with the second spinner. They desperately missed Jurinder Jadeja. And this was Naeem Shah's, you know, opportunity. You know, this was his chance to think, actually, you know, I can do a job as a left-arm spinner. But unfortunately, he just doesn't do enough, maybe, you know, with the ball. He's a good bowler when in helpful surfaces. But this was his opportunity, and he could have shown a bit more intent, you know, in his body language, his energy at the crease. He looked very tired. Looked like he was just going through, you know, just getting over his front leg. That front arm was going down, and he kind of like, this is the kind of attitude you look, you know. Ravi Shastri probably thinking, you know, okay, Akshay Patel got injured. We were bringing in some other players. Is it, you know, they may not get another chance, but this is their chance. It's like, you know, if you put in a good performance, then suddenly your name's in the hat. And he just, the second spinner, that's always been India's weakest link, and that definitely was exposed in this Test match.
I think as far as the tail wagging is concerned, I think India lacks a bowler who can wrap up the tail. Somebody like Mitchell Starc for Australia, somebody like Anderson and Stuart Broad for England. Both of them are, all these bowlers are very good in wrapping up tail enders. But we don't seem to have a bowler who can get into the tail and finish them off. And we've always suffered this problem of foreign teams coming in and, the tail wagging and the last 3-4 wickets adding 100 runs, which has always been to the detriment of Indian cricket.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. And I think it's just because what happens is that it gets easier to bat on once the tails come on, even with the new ball. And I think India just need to, I think they need to work out and speak to the creator, the groundsman. They think, what kind of pitches do we really want to produce in India? Is it good for Test cricket? 500 versus 500? Absolutely not. You kind of like in England, we don't produce these kind of pitches. We always have the ball moving around, have a bit of grass on the wicket. They could have. I think it's too flat. And until India bat on this pitch, we're not going to know how flat this pitch is. It could the game could change and it could be a different game altogether. But if India bat really well and they get to, let's say they need to get to 400, that's what they've got to think. Get to 400 plus. They get to 400. Most likely, this game probably end up as a draw. Even though this fourth inning stats average in Chennai is 80, I just can't see that happening on this pitch. And I remember tweeting to Harbhajan Singh asking when he took 7 for 133 against Australia in 2001, what are the pitch conditions now till then? He didn't reply back, but I've got my answer. Very flat.
And also, Paji, I and Sirisa were discussing yesterday about the Chepauk's wicket, and we were also surprised with the nature of the wicket we saw in this Test match. Isn't it, Sirisa?
Yeah, it was completely flat. And I think that reflected on the Indian bowling lineup as well. They were just as flat as the wicket was. Yesterday was bad. Today, I think Washington Sundar and your left-arm spinner Shahbaz Nadeem bowled far better than they had done yesterday. But yesterday, they were a complete letdown. They were being taken to the cleaners by everybody. I mean, starting with the opener, Rory Burns, and then, of course, Joe Root and Dom Sibley. They just took those two to the cleaners. I mean, with that 200-run stand, it was mostly runs conceded by Washington Sundar and Shahbaz Nadeem, unfortunately.
Yeah. Last couple of questions before I wrap up the show. First thing is that, Paji, there was a lot of talk and a lot of hype that the England batters, the left-arm spinners troubled the England batters. And that was the reason why Akshar Patel was immediately included when Ravindra Jadeja was not available. And then that was one of the probable reasons why Shahbaz Nadeem played ahead of Kuldeep Yadav. We saw Embuldinia also troubling English batters in the previous series against Sri Lanka, where he took 15 wickets at an average of 27.67. So do you think that the quality also matters, or it's just the left-arm spinner?
Well, I think it's the attitude. I think with Shahbaz Nadeem, I just think that even when you bowl lots of overs, you want to be impressing Virat Kohli. You want to be thinking that, look, it's tough out here, but I'm gonna tough it out. And that's the kind of stuff they're going to remember. I was disappointed with him. I thought he should have been a bit more energetic. Yeah, he got a couple of wickets, but it's not. I don't know. Being a newcomer to Test cricket, I just thought he could have shown a bit more energy in his attitude.
I'd like to say one thing. I think that the move to take Shahbaz Nadeem in the team ahead of Kuldeep Yadav was essentially a defensive move. This is what I feel. I mean, it was like Virat Kohli thinking, let me not lose this first test. Okay, it's okay if it's a draw, but let me not lose this first test. So I need bowlers who can bat, who can contribute some runs to the team's cause. I mean, Kuldeep is not a great batsman, and therefore I think Shahbaz Nadeem got the nod ahead of him. And Akshar Patel is also a much better bat than is Kuldeep Yadav. But Kuldeep Yadav is an attacking bowler, and he may go for runs, but he will get you wickets. And being a wrist spinner, he's different from the other three finger spinners. So I think this was a defensive move. What do you say, Monty Paji? Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. I think being a 4 Test match series, I think the Indian team approached this match more of a defensive mindset, knowing that let's assess how England are, in the first Test match, and we'll have a pile up with the batting, have bowlers who can bat and bowl, and that defensive mindset will give them a chance to now assess. They've had a look at this England team now, and they will think now, what do we do next? I think by having Kuldeep Yadav in the first Test match, they felt that they were exposing themselves a bit too early. So I think at some point, Kuldeep Yadav probably will get the nod, but they will just probably have to work out, what kind of pitches they want to play on, and do they want more pace in the wicket rather than being slow and flat. So. This wicket's very slow and it's just getting flatter. To be honest, the more you're playing on, it's just getting flatter and flatter. So it appears it will just be attritional cricket for the next couple of days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Last question, a positive one, that Joe Root, Dom Sibley and Ben Stokes showed us that the wicket is still too good to bat. It doesn't have any demons coming out of it, and flat track, where if you concentrate for a while and get set, you will pile heaps of runs. So for both of you, Shirish sir and Monty Paji, which batter are you betting on for India tomorrow? Shirish sir.
I feel that unless all the Indian batsmen, all the top order, that is the 6 Indian batsmen chosen for this test, I feel that unless all of them make a contribution of at least a half century, we are not going to reach 400, in which case we might be on the back foot all the time for the rest of the test. If you ask me whom am I counting on, I feel Virat Kohli will definitely come good on this. I feel Cheteshwar Pujara will get runs in his slow, deliberate fashion. These are the 2 I feel will do really well. I'm hoping the openers come good tomorrow. If they don't, then India is going to be facing another major problem for the rest of the series. What is the opening combination do we field for the rest? I mean, you've got Mayank Agarwal, you've got Prithvi Shaw still sitting in the ranks. You've got KL Rahul. Whether those guys will come in, but they won't get a chance in case Shubman Gill and Rohit Sharma do well tomorrow. What do you see? What do you say, Monty Paji?
Yeah, look, I agree with you. Look, I think that, the likes of Rishabh Pant scores quickly, Shubman Gill scores quickly, Virat Kohli as well, he doesn't hang around either. And then we've got Rohit Sharma. So they've got some attacking players which could favour India, or it could go the other way. And it'd be interesting to see, like, if let's say if there's an attacking gameplay, if India attack really well, then, they get to that 400 really quickly. We may even see Virat Kohli declare. He may declare on England and say, right, we're going to bowl you guys out. I have that much confidence. So you never know, it all depends on their mindset. They've got an attacking lineup. They need a couple of batsmen with Ajinkya Rahane, Pujara to bat the long game while the other guys can attack. And we've seen it in Brisbane. These guys are fearless cricketers. They won't be hanging around like how England have done. I think they've taken too much time out of the game, if you ask me. So it very much looks like that India, it will depend on how they can play this cricket. And just imagine Virat Kohli declaring on Joe Root, get to 450 and say, right, we're declaring. You come you come and have a bat on the 3rd innings. Now that would be entertaining to watch.
Yeah, sure, definitely. And Shirish sir.
I'm amazed that me, an Indian supporter, I'm being pessimistic, while Monty Paji, who is supposed to be an English supporter, is supporting the Indian team to go and play attacking cricket. I'm amazed. I hope Monty Paji is right and that I am wrong, but I do feel that this match will see India on the back foot for the rest of this match, and that at the best result that India can hope for is a draw. I don't think India can win from here under any circumstance.
No, draw's the best option, and if India get bowled out for under 350, then I think England will win this test match.
There you go.
And winning the first test of the series in India is a huge boost for any visiting team. So on this positive note that India does well tomorrow, Indian batters come and score not big but small contributions will work for every batter. So on this positive note, let's wrap up the show today, and we'll meet tomorrow at 5 p.m. just after the day's play. This series, this is a trailer. There's a lot more exciting stuff coming up throughout the series, because this trailer has actually depicted that what will be the picture of the series. Thanks a lot, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you.